Malware and ransomware. Now the overview. Despite the steady advance of antivirus software solutions, malware and ransomware in particular is an ever-growing threat. Malware, short for malicious software, can be defined as any software designed to perform malicious actions on behalf of an attacker. There are many different kinds of malware. We'll be focusing on generic malware and ransomware specifically in this task. Once installed, attackers commonly use malware to steal information, cause damage, or execute arbitrary commands on the infected system. Malware is often used to perform a set of tasks referred to as command and control or C2. C2 malware connects back to a waiting server and allows an attacker to control the infected system remotely, often incorporating many simple tasks such as keylogging as built-in parts of the malicious software. Ransomware. Ransomware is a specialized class of malware and is used to infect as many systems as possible. It encrypts the data on the devices and it holds it as ransom. So if the victim pays the attackers within a set time frame, usually via a cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin, the data is theoretically returned. Ransomware usually spreads by exploiting known vulnerabilities in commonly installed software, e.g. the Microsoft Windows operating system. It can be extremely fast spreading once an infection begins, and it can demand millions in ransom money. The goal of a ransomware attack is to infect as many systems as possible, then make as much data inaccessible as possible by encrypting it with a key only known to the attacker. Once the attack is complete, the malware usually displays a window that looks something like this. Oops, your files have been encrypted. So if you need to recover your files, you have to tell these people and you have to make payment. Once you make payment, it will be decrypted for you. This window gives the victims a time limit and instructions on how to pay, as well as a rundown on what exactly happened to their data. The example above is from the infamous WannaCry ransomware. With a ransom paid, the malware may or may not decrypt the data and self-destruct, depending entirely on how nice the attackers are. So you could actually pay the ransom and you still have your data being destroyed, right? So delivery methods. You may wonder how this happened in the first place. So there are various ways that an attacker can actually infect a target with malware. Many of these revolve around social engineering or phishing attacks, as we mentioned earlier. For example, an attacker may send a victim an email containing an MS Word or Excel file that contains a malicious macro, that is a code that is embedded inside the document. So these will not run by default unless the user clicks the enable contact button at the top of the screen to enable macro. So basically, when you have files from internet like that, Microsoft will only put it read only to say to disable editing. So the moment you enable content, you just installed a malware on your system. However, there are situations in which a user may genuinely wish to execute macros, and a good attacker will capitalize on this pretext to convince the victim to click the button. Similarly, the attacker may send the file as a compiled.exe, a PDF, like any form of file that can be executed by the JavaScript interpreter built into Windows. In short, there are many different ways and formats in which an attacker can send code to a victim. Once the code is executed, the infection begins. Alternatively, the attacker may exploit a vulnerability in public-facing infrastructure in a corporate environment, for example, a web server, thus giving themselves an opening into the internal network and allowing them to start a larger attack that is facilitated by malware. Now, how do you stay safe from ransomware and malwares? Staying safe from malware and ransomware in particular is best done with a combination of awareness and keeping things up to date. Always accept updates and patches when offered, especially in important software like operating systems. Updates often contain fixes to security flaws, so it's actually important to get this in place as soon as possible. Number two, never click on suspicious link. I've been saying from the start, once you feel like this thing is suspicious, please and please do not click it, especially in emails. Try not to open file attachments if possible. If the message looks suspicious, delete it or you forward it to the appropriate team if you are using a work account. Number three, always be on the lookout for people trying to get you to download or run files, especially over email or instant messaging. If you have someone that is always sending you links to do something, you just have to be very wary of such persons. You never can trust their intentions. Never plug unknown media devices into important computers. If you find a device in public, do not plug it into your work laptop. Always back up important data. This will be discussed in more detail in later room and can be crucial in covering from a ransomware attack. So if you actually have a backup, even if there is a ransomware attack, you have something you can rely on. Make sure that your antivirus software is always up to date and it is activated. Note: if you or your business gets infected with ransomware, do not pay the ransom. Instead, call your local authorities immediately. I don't know you want to call it Nigeria, but and try to contain the infection by disabling your router or otherwise physically preventing the infected device from connecting to anything else. Do not power the infected device off, as this can sometimes destroy any potential opportunities to decrypt the data without paying. So actually, you're supposed to inform your local authority and try to contain the infection. If it's connected to other systems in the network, just try to disconnect it, right? What currency did the WannaCry attackers request payments in? That's Bitcoin, if I'm right. So with this, we've come to the end of malware and ransomware. Thank you for listening. Bye.